Hi, everyone. Welcome to Write Our Way, which will be hosted by fictional writer Patrick Starks. If you have not read the description below, these podcast discussions will be surrounded around writing short stories and novels, discussions of storytelling through film, using comparisons from the 80s and the current movies we see today, as well as discussions about how these movies impact our lives, or if not, why. If you are a writer, a reader, or neither of the two, who is looking for some inspiration, a little motivation, something that will get you excited about writing, something that will help you develop and feel confident in your own style, then you have come to the right place. My friends, welcome to Write Our Way.
Hello, my friends. Welcome to Write Our Way. I'm your host, Patrick Starks, and today we're going to talk about special topics as we always talk about. And this topic is one of my favorites, one that I've always wanted to talk about. One of the ones that one of my favorite authors, Neil Gaiman, speaks about, and that's called making good art. So just to jump right into it, what do we mean by making good art? What does that mean for us as writers? What does that mean for us as artists in general? Well, I can definitely tell you what that means to me, and making good art to me has always meant taking your time and being patient with the process so that you give the best of your abilities, that you give your audience the best quality that you can give. And I also believe making good art means that it's something you are sincerely happy with, right? It's not something that you're just pushing out there just to stay relevant. It's something that you are taking your time with, you're actually enjoying the process, and when you put it out there, you're like, damn, I did a really great job. I really love this project so much. I can't wait to share with everyone. And overall, that's the gist of making good art. But I'm sure a lot of you are wondering, what do you do when you have to work in making great art under a tight deadline? Well, this is where your thinking cap comes into play, right? This is where brainstorming comes into play. This is where we start to use our outlines. Our outlines are to keep us on the right page. I know for me, generally, when I'm writing short stories, I don't do outlines. I just don't feel the need to. I'm not writing a novel. It's so short and sweet that I feel like I can keep it all in my head. Now, I know for a few of you that might not work best, and that's okay. Again, everyone has their own style, everyone has their own go-to. So if writing an outline for short stories works for you, I am not against it. I would say definitely use it for your advantage. Anything that you can use to aid your writing, use it. But just going back to what we were talking about, just making great art under a tight deadline, again, we still want to make sure that we have some bit of patience when going about this. We don't want to be anxious going into this. We want to make sure that we make our outline, but not be anxious working through the outline. Even though we are using our outline, we still want to be patient working through the outline, if that makes any sense. For example, to clarify what I'm trying to say here is basically, if you're going through your outline, you don't want to rush through it, because sometimes in our outlines we find things that might not work in our story, things that we might want to change. So if you're just blasting through the outline and just going off of that and just blasting through your story and putting it on paper or putting it digitally onto the computer or whatnot, whatever format you use, then you're still losing that quality, and that's not what we want. That's not how we're going to make this great artwork. We want to, again, make sure that we are putting our best foot forward when creating this. This isn't just about again, being relevant. This is about your name. Your name is on the piece of work. So this is about your credibility. This is about you making a name for yourself and making sure people will say, hey, this person's great. They're known for making these awesome short stories. And that's what you want as a writer. That's what we all want. And that doesn't have to be for short stories. That could be for anything like poetry or anything like that. Just keep in mind, when you're doing these things, whether you have an outline or not, patience is key. But as I was also thinking about this, I also think situations like this is kind of a double-edged sword, right? I mean, if we didn't have the deadlines, then we'd be taking our sweet time, putting out the story. And that's not always necessarily good, because what happens is we lose quality in that because we're overthinking now. Now we're overthinking our story so much that we've lost our placement. We've lost what the whole story is about, where it even begins or how it ends. We've lost it. And so it's nice to have the deadline still to kind of push you through the story. So I'm sure all of you are aware by now that this type of stuff, when it comes to making great art, it's kind of a dance, right? It's a yin and yang. You got to find your middle ground, to really create these beautiful bodies of work. And you can't do it without patience, but you also can't do it without the push, right? So how do you do that? That's the question. How do you find that balance? I'm sure that's what a lot of you guys are wondering. And the honest truth, everyone, is that I really don't have an answer for you because, again, we're all different and we all learn things in different ways. And so it really comes down to just repetition. Like, the more you work on writing, the more you find that balance and you find your rhythm. So I would say not to be too hard on yourself in the beginning of making great art. This doesn't have to be for writing. This can be for any forms of art. You just have to know that when you're going about this, that it's going to take time. But now that we got the whole idea of what we're talking about here as far as making great art, we know that we need the patience, and we know that we need to have some sort of deadline or some sort of push to get us through creating these bodies of work. So what else would there be to really get us to this level of great artwork? Well, I would say the next two things I'd recommend as far as reaching this level is, I would say, go to some of your favorite artists that you like and study them. Study their patterns and study their ways of how they create their bodies of art. And again, this doesn't have to be for writing, because even me as a writer, I study other artists outside of writing to get ideas for my creativity. Now, again, like I said before, be careful with this. This is a dance, right? So, again, like I said before, we all have our own ways of doing things. So don't get too caught up in some of the people that you like, what they're doing. Don't get caught up in too much of how they do things. Take some inspiration, take a few lessons from them, and kind of make something of your own out of it. But don't entirely try to mimic it, because it won't work. Like I said, everyone's way of doing things is only or solely designed for them. That's what I mean. I promise you, I'm not kidding you. Anything anybody does, it's been shown even in working out. Like, for some of your fitness gurus out there that work out, there are some techniques that are shoes fit all, but again, everyone has different body types, right? Everyone's body reacts to certain forms of nutrients, so we can't all necessarily go about having the same diets. So the same applies to artwork. So all in all, in conclusion, study great minds and make your own out of it. Now, the second thing I will say is something a lot of you guys might not like to hear. Sometimes I don't like to hear it, but as I've grown older, and not just as a man, but as a writer especially, I've learned to take this because it only helps you grow. And so the second thing is going to be taking a little criticism and getting feedback on some of your work. And the reason this is good is so you can kind of see what people like and what they don't like. And this is such a great area for me, right? Because this is one of those topics where it's like, you want to cater to your audience, but you also want to cater to yourself. You also want to do work that you enjoy doing, stuff that you are passionate about, ideas that you've always had in your head that you are passionate about, not because that's what the general public wants. However, in order to make those ideas that you are passionate about work, you also need to know and understand the community and know what people like, so that you can maybe twist a few things around and articulate it in a way where they can understand it, more so understand where you're coming from. Trust me when I say I I don't like to go to my mom about my stories because she is a woman who grew up in libraries most of her life. So she will nitpick on every nick and cranny of my stories, but I know it's well needed for me to grow as a writer and to know the actual form of writing, the stylization of it, and how to articulate it to the world so they understand where I'm coming from. I highly, highly recommend do not, when I say get criticism or feedback, don't go to somebody who's a negative Nancy, somebody who is just not looking out for your best interest. They don't care if you succeed or you fail. Go to people who definitely want to see you succeed and they are passionate about, or not passionate, but excited about what you're doing, and they only want to help you get your work out there and help you grow and see that you reach your highest potential. I mean, especially in times now where everyone's kind of beating each other down on social media, I would say definitely cling tight onto the ones that are positive. It's really hard to find some positive people out there, so cling on tight to those people so that you can grow and you can excel in life, and you can help them excel in life, and that's that. So I hope you guys learned a lot from this. It's always a pleasure talking with you all. I'm happy to talk with you about this topic because something I'm very passionate about is making really, really great art and not rushing it. Like I said, we live in such a time now where everyone's trying to go and put content out there and be relevant. But, I was explaining this to my brother. It's like, when they make movies in Hollywood, a lot of these movies take years to make. Imagine if they try to push out movies every month. The movies would be horrible. It'd be terrible. So the same thing applies to your work. If you want your work to be high quality, spend as much time as you need on it. Again, everyone's different. Some people are a little bit more faster than others, but don't worry about that. It's not a rat race. Again, it's no race at all, because I was going to say it's a race with yourself, but it's not even a race with yourself. It's you really just getting an understanding of your craft and really trying to figure out the highest potential you can reach. Like, what does it take to get at this high level of writing? What do I need to do? Is there more words that I need to learn? Do I need more resources? Like, what else do I need to do to grow as a writer? And that should be your main focal point, because I promise you all that's going to do nothing but make you so powerful in your writing, and it's going to get you attention for sure. It's only going to come. You just got to be patient. So, become a child again. Imagine my friends. Hope you guys all enjoy, and go out there, make some great art. All right, talk to you soon.
Hope you all enjoyed and had something to take away from today's discussion. To find out more about our lovely host, Patrick Starks, and even some of his writing works, go to www.paycark.com. That's www.paycark.com. Stay tuned for the next episode of Write Our Way, and have yourself a fantastic day.